The domineering CEO and his childhood sweetheart, accompanied by a barren female protagonist from a heart-wrenching tale, arrive at an orphanage to adopt a child. All the children rush toward the childhood sweetheart, exclaiming, "New mommy, pick me, pick me." The barrage of comments scrolls frantically. She can't bear her own children, and even the orphans overlook her. The female protagonist of this tragic narrative truly suffers, humiliated by her husband and his little sweetheart. The childhood sweetheart has triumphed spectacularly, adored by the CEO, while the orphans eagerly vie to recognize her as their mother. The female protagonist is but a mere ornament. The emotional stakes are insufficient. Let the female protagonist endure even more misfortune. Ideally, she should break into tears on the spot, so that when the CEO reminisces, the hooks for his pursuit of her will be even stronger. I glance at the comments, my temper flaring, and I leap with all my might, landing before the overlooked female protagonist. I grasp her sleeve, demanding, "Hey there, do you know how to make a cast iron pot stew?" The female protagonist is taken aback. "Yes, I do." My eyes sparkle with excitement. "Perfect. I have a taste for that. I'm coming with you." 1. The female protagonist of this heart-wrenching tale, Shin Jin-ha, stood frozen in place, her eyes clouded with confusion and bewilderment. "Do you wish to savor the iron pot stew I prepare?" The thought of the fragrant dish illuminated her eyes like a bulb flickering to life. "Indeed, dear sister. You should assume the role of my mother. I have chosen you." She had yet to utter a word. The barrage of comments exploded before my eyes, more boisterous than the festive firecrackers of the new year. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I nearly laughed my head off. This child, no more than 5 or 6 years old, exuded a distinct northeastern flair, casually referring to the female lead as sister. How exuberantly extroverted. The narrative, initially steeped in melancholic humiliation and despair, showcased the female protagonist struggling to adopt a child while the male lead cruelly exacerbated her wounds. Now, an enthusiastic northeastern child wished to accompany her. How would the story unfold? What a ludicrous twist. Where was the promised heartache? Shin Jin-ha's pale lips quivered slightly, her voice barely above a whisper, laced with uncertainty. "What did you call me?" After a moment's reflection, I earnestly called out, "Mama." The moment those words left my lips, her once still eyes ignited with an almost unbelievable glimmer. Tears cascaded down like pearls from a broken string, splattering onto the cold concrete floor. She seemed to want to crouch down, but her body faltered, unsteady. Panic surged through me as I released my grip and lunged forward, my thin arms wrapping around her legs like fragile branches, offering her a makeshift support. "Why are you crying? Did I pull too hard and hurt you?" My hands were red and chapped from the cold, and in my excitement, I may have been a bit too forceful. She shook her head vigorously, her tears flowing even more profusely. At that moment, the girl in the red dress, Jo Shichi, suddenly raised her voice in a shrill call. "Brother Sucheng, look quickly. I don't know where this wild child came from, so unruly," scaring Sister Jinha. She swayed her hips over to Meng Sucheng, her manicured fingers nearly poking my nose. "Director, how are you educating these children?" This one comes in and starts acting out, with no sense of decorum whatsoever. Sister Jinha is frail. What if she's frightened? The director's face flushed with embarrassment upon hearing this. She hurriedly stepped forward, attempting to pry my arms away from Shin Jinha's waist, feigning reprimand. "You let go. Quickly. Let go. You are being terribly inconsiderate, disturbing our esteemed guest. Apologize to Miss Shin immediately." The director's grip was quite firm. Instantly, a stubborn determination surged within me. I not only refused to release my hold, but clung on even tighter. "I won't let go. I didn't scare her. I merely asked about the iron pot stew. And she said she could make it. I want to go with her." I shouted loudly, nearly showering the director with my saliva. "You!" The director trembled in anger. Shin Jinha, with trembling hands, cautiously touched my flushed cheeks. "You wish to come with me?" Hum. I nodded emphatically, straightening my tiny frame, my gaze unwavering. "I want to go with you and eat iron pot stew." "Jinha, don't act impulsively." Meng Sucheng finally spoke, his voice cold as ice. He frowned, casting a disdainful glance in my direction, as if I were nothing more than refuse on the roadside. This child is untamed and ill-mannered. Shichi is right. What if she frightens you? Moreover, our Ming family has no need for such unrefined company. He deliberately emphasized the term unrefined. Zhou Shiqi immediately chimed in, her voice sugary sweet. Exactly. Just look at her dirty appearance. A little girl speaking with such a thick accent. Bringing her home would be a laughingstock. Furthermore, how can such a significant decision as adoption be based on a child's whim? I suggest we help Jinha select a well-behaved child who can speak standard Mandarin. The barrage of comments before me erupted once more. It was indeed too demeaning to bring such a child home. Zhou Shiqi's words, though coarse, contained a kernel of truth. Yet, this child seemed to adore the female protagonist, who clearly reciprocated the affection. If adoption fell through, where would the heart-wrenching drama unfold? Only this child had thrown herself into the female lead's embrace. I struggled to comprehend why the narrative insisted on tormenting her. She had already lost a child. Wasn't that enough to fuel a tragedy? Jinha's body visibly stiffened for a moment, instinctively tightening her embrace around me. Her arms trembling with a desperate determination. I want her. This little girl, I only wish to adopt her. Jinha, have you lost your senses? Zhou Shiqi shrieked. You would defy Brother Sucheng for this wild child? Meng Sucheng's expression darkened entirely, his gaze cold and menacing as it bore down on Jinha. The unspoken pressure rendered the air in the orphanage almost tangible. The director fidgeted nervously, afraid to breathe. Jinha's complexion paled further, yet she clutched me tighter. Mama, don't be afraid. I suddenly turned to Meng Sucheng and Zhou Shiqi, summoning every ounce of strength within me, and shouted in the most authentic northeastern accent. What are you two fussing about? Who wants to adopt? It's my mama who wishes to raise a child, and you are merely here to assist her. Now that my mama has chosen me, and I have chosen her too, what's wrong with that? If you keep talking, I swear I'll knock you out. The orphanage fell silent in an instant. The expressions on Meng Sucheng and Zhou Shiqi's faces were as vivid as a spilled palette of paint, filled with disbelief. Goodness. Such fighting spirit. Directly challenging the tyrant. Meng Sucheng's face turned green with rage, while Zhou Shiqi appeared as if her jaw might drop. The northeastern child was truly formidable. Delight surged through me. Indeed, when it came to narratives, I preferred the uplifting over the heart-wrenching. Female lead. Hold on tight to your little shield. This child can hold her own. She has the words to confront the scoundrels. Jinha, too astonished to continue crying, gazed at me in a daze. Gradually, a faint smile began to creep across her pale lips. Ultimately, despite the immense pressure from Meng Sucheng's stormy countenance and Zhou Shiqi's venomous glare, Jinha persevered and completed the adoption paperwork, becoming my mother. 2. The Meng family villa was astonishingly vast. The servants regarded me with a mix of cautious scrutiny and barely concealed disdain. My new room was tucked away in the most remote corner of the villa, small and unwelcoming. It housed only a modest bed and a dilapidated cabinet, lacking even a window. The new clothes sent to me were all chosen by Zhou Shiqi. They were either several sizes too large, resembling burlap sacks, or garishly colorful, with a few obviously worn and unwashed dresses among them. After all, I was an orphan. Having something to wear was already a blessing. Zhou Shiqi, feigning a laugh while covering her mouth, deliberately remarked in front of Jinha, Sister Jinha, wouldn't you agree? We can't truly let her dress like a little princess. That would be quite absurd. Jinha's expression darkened, and she seemed ready to protest, yet Meng Sucheng silenced her with a mere cold glance. Shiqi is correct. Understand your place and do not covet what does not belong to you. Providing her with these is more than sufficient. During dinner, at the long dining table, Meng Sucheng occupied the head seat, with Zhou Shiqi nestled beside him, assuming the role of the lady of the house. Mother and I sat at the furthest end from them. The dishes on the table were exquisitely arranged, akin to a work of art, yet the portions were miserably scant, devoid of even a warm, hearty dish. Eat up, little one, Zhou Shiqi chimed cheerfully, placing a morsel of caviar-covered delicacy on a small plate before me. This is a fine treat. Try it with your salad, and do not disappoint your mother, who cannot lay eggs. She put her heart into bringing you home. The sarcasm dripped from her tone. I looked at the dish, completely lacking the appetite to indulge. Mother, noticing my reluctance, cut her largely untouched steak into small pieces and pushed it toward me. Sweetheart, eat your steak. Meng Sucheng cast a glance in our direction. His voice languid as he spoke. Jinha, mind your manners. Do not bring those uncouth habits from the outside into our home. Whatever she wishes to eat, the servants will naturally prepare. Servants preparing? I glanced toward the kitchen and caught sight of tomato scrambled eggs, steamed ribs, and braised pork knuckles. They were feasting far better than I. A fiery tempest brewed within me as I resentfully swatted at the weeds before me. For my mother's sake. I endured. As long as I don't starve, it suffices. At that moment, Joshichi's insufferable voice pierced the air once more. Sister Jinha. This soup has simmered for quite a while and is particularly nourishing. You're in such frail health, you ought to drink some. With a beaming smile, she approached, cradling a steaming bowl of soup, poised to place it before my mother. A sudden unease gripped my heart, an instinctual feeling that her intentions were far from benevolent. Sure enough, as she bent to set the bowl down, her wrist trembled inadvertently. The scalding soup splashed directly onto my mother's leg. My mother cried out in shock, stumbling back, her skirt instantly drenched, revealing a glaring red beneath the fabric. Almost simultaneously, Joshichi let out an exaggerated shriek. She quickly withdrew her hand. A small patch on her wrist reddened from the splatter, no larger than a grain of rice. Sister Jinha, what are you doing? I was kindly serving you soup. Why did you push me? I just wanted you to taste it. Oh, it hurts so much. Shichi. Meng Shuqing leaped to his feet, rushing over. Shinjinha. Shichi meant well, and you dare to vent your anger on her. You can't give birth yourself. We allowed you to adopt a child, and now you're jealous of Shichi, aren't you? Apologize to her at once. My mother's face drained of color, beads of cold sweat forming on her forehead. She glanced at her inflamed leg and then at Meng Shuqing's unjust demeanor, her lips quivering. Yet not a single word escaped her. It was as though she had endured countless instances of such slander and injustice, numbed by pain, rendering any defense feeble. The barrage of comments swirled before my eyes. Wow. Joe Green T's acting is phenomenal. The Oscars owe her a little golden statue. Push her? It was clearly Shinjinha who got burned. Meng Dog, are you blind? TSK, the female lead doesn't even dare to speak. It seems she's often bullied this way. Enough with the torment. I'm furious. Simon, little one. The anger within me erupted like a volcano. Are you blind or what? I leaped from my chair and stormed up to Meng Shuqing, pointing at Joshichi's wrist, then at my mother's swollen leg. She only got a tiny burn, no bigger than my fingernail. Look at my mom's leg. It's completely red. Can't you see? Are your eyes merely for decoration? My chest heaved with indignation as I pointed to the glaring camera on the ceiling. You can't distinguish right from wrong. Turning black into white. Are you that dim-witted? There's a huge eye up there recording everything. Check the footage. Dare you to see who pushed whom, who splashed whom. Impudent. Meng Shuqing's face turned crimson with embarrassment at my public defiance, his anger igniting. This household is not for you to dictate. Be quiet. Speaking the truth is called being unruly? Favoring that wicked woman is considered having decorum. I stood my ground defiantly. Why should my mother apologize? It is she who ought to apologize. I pointed fiercely at the folk-crying Joshichi. Chaos erupted in the dining room. Yet, the final outcome was inevitable. My mother and I were confined, even denied dinner. Before Meng Shuqing took Joshichi to the hospital, she deliberately lowered her voice to whisper in my mother's ear. Shinjinha, do you know what your dear husband was doing the night your child was lost? He was massaging my feet. While you lay on that cold operating table in the hospital, listening to the doctor say they couldn't save the child. I merely called him. Saying my ankle was a bit uncomfortable, and without hesitation, he abandoned you and your dying daughter to rush to my side. Even now. He stands resolutely by my side. What do you amount to? After she left, my mother's face turned ashen, her spirit engulfed in a chilling despair. The comments exploded. Wow. Is this really the truth? Meng Shuqing, are you even human? At such a critical moment for your wife and child. You go to accompany your mistress, you scoundrel. Go to hell. My goodness, how desperate must the female lead have felt, losing her child, having her womb removed. While her husband is with another woman, it's utterly inhumane. I tightly embraced my mother's cold, stiff body, sensing her overwhelming despair, my heart racing with urgency. Mom, don't listen to that wicked woman's nonsense. She's a villain. Everything she says is rubbish. Let us ignore her. We'll treat her like a toad on our feet, harmless and annoying. Mom, you still have me. I'm your little warm blanket, so cozy. We don't need that bad man. He's blind and heartless. He's wicked. Let us keep our distance. I awkwardly patted my mother's back, like soothing a small child. Mom, why must we endure this humiliation in this wretched place? Why don't we leave? The world is vast. Where can't we live? We can find a place where you cook Big Goose, and I'll help you stoke the fire. It'll be splendid. My mother fell silent, as if contemplating this question for the first time. Can I really leave? Why can't you? My mother offered a bitter smile. But I'm in a family alliance. Our marriage isn't so simple. My parents hope I can be of some use. I grew frantic. Mom, why must you live for others? I have no family. But I know that as family, they wish for your happiness, not your sacrifice. You must live for yourself. After what felt like an eternity, she finally asked in a serious tone, if I leave here, there will be no big house, no pretty clothes. Would you still want a mother like that? Mom, you're being foolish. What do I need those things for? My eyes sparkled. Just tell me. If you have money, will you make me iron pot stews? Big goose with sauerkraut. Ribs with green beans. Pork with vermicelli. My mother instinctively nodded. I would. Then it's settled. As long as there's food, I'm more than happy to follow you. I hugged her tightly, nuzzling her icy neck. Mom, don't stay here to be bullied. It breaks my heart. They're so wicked, always picking on you. Shinjinha suddenly broke into tears and fiercely pulled me into her embrace. All right, I'll take you away. Her tears streamed down, hot against my neck. That night, my mother was reborn, and I acquired a new name, Shinshuren. At breakfast the next day, the atmosphere at the table was oppressive. Meng Xuqing demanded my mother apologize to Chi Mei. Shinjinha lifted her head, her gaze calm, fixing it on Meng Xuqing at the head of the table. Meng Xuqing, let us get a divorce. The air instantly thickened. Meng Xuqing shot up in shock. What did you say? I said, let us get a divorce. Shinjinha's voice was soft yet remarkably clear. Meng Xuqing chuckled derisively. Shinjinha, has that child twisted your mind? You're now a woman who can't even bear children, without a job or income. How will you survive after leaving me and the Meng family? Will you take that illegitimate child of yours to fend for yourselves? He paused, his tone seemingly softening a bit. I know I owe you for the child's matter. But what is done is done. What more do you want from me? Do you bear no responsibility for your daughter's death? Shinjinha, be realistic. I'm the only one willing to provide for you and the child you adopted. To give you both a meal. After all, I still love you. I straightened my small frame, pointing an accusatory finger at Meng Xuqing. Stop babbling nonsense. What do you love about my mom? Does love mean she cries daily? Love means feeding her weeds, listening to others insult her for not laying eggs, watching her get splashed with scalding soup, and demanding she apologize? Is that love? What you refer to is simply absurd. You toil for your earnings, and at least your employer pays you a salary. Yet you, with your heirs, provide nothing. Do you truly believe you are the only one willing to support? I scoff. My mother would thrive even without you. Meng Xuqing's face turned ashen with fury. Very well, Shinjinha. You wish for a divorce? So be it. I shall grant you that. But think carefully. Upon divorce, the adoption of that wild child will be rendered null and void. As a woman without a job, income, or home, what right do you have to adopt a child? The Civil Affairs Bureau will not stamp your application. Let me see how you intend to care for her. He signed the divorce papers with a flourish, slamming them down before Shinjinha. The meager courage she had painstakingly built crumbled instantly in the face of the threat to nullify the adoption. She hesitated to sign. My gaze was resolute as I grasped her hand. Mother, do not fear. I shall always stand by your side. First, you must save yourself. And only then can you rescue me and all those you wish to save. She looked at me and nodded firmly, signing her name. The divorce process unfolded more smoothly than anticipated. My mother and I rented a modest room, and our first meal was a hearty stew. However, our brief joy was shattered when she received a call from the orphanage. I'm sorry, Miss Shin. We have just received notification and confirmed your current situation. Regrettably, you no longer meet the requirements for adoption. Please return area at your earliest convenience. Shinjinha froze, the phone pressed to her ear. She pleaded, Director, please, I beg you, allow me some leniency. I will find a job. I will rent a place. I'm sorry, Miss Shin, but rules are rules, the director replied, her voice unwavering. We must be responsible for the children. This afternoon, we will send someone to collect her. The call ended. And she gazed at the pristine divorce certificate in her hand, then at me, despair and helplessness engulfing her. She covered her face and broke down in tears. I reached out, prying her hands away from her face. She lifted her tear-streaked visage, filled with despair and guilt. "I'm so sorry, baby. Your mother is worthless." I wiped away her tears and clasped her icy fingers tightly. My face bore no fear, only a wide, radiant smile as I exclaimed in a loud, cheerful voice, "Why are you crying, Mom? It's not a big deal. If the adoption fell through, so be it. This stew will be terrible if it cools." I finished that last meal with a smile. The next day, I returned to that cold, familiar yard. The other children looked at me with disdain. "Oh, isn't that area? Back again? I told you, how could a rich family truly care for her? A wild child is a wild child." Yeah. What else would the city act? So uncouth. A few of the usual troublemakers surrounded me, shoving and jostling, deliberately dirtying the clean clothes my mother had bought for me. Clenching my fists until my nails nearly pierced my skin, I looked up and shouted back, "I'm not Arya. I'm Shinshirin. Shinshirin. I have a mother. Her name is Shinjinha." "Shinjinha? Isn't that the one who abandoned you?" A chubby boy shoved me hard, and I stumbled to the ground, scraping my palm and feeling a sharp sting. Gritting my teeth, I rose, mud on my face, but my eyes sparkled fiercely. Like a little wolf cub roused to anger. "My mother didn't abandon me. She's figuring things out. She will come for me. I am Shinshirin." The comments streamed before my eyes. Why does it have to be this way? Can't love make one a family? Don't cry, little one. Mommy is trying her best. Upstairs, the orphanage was indeed responsible for the children, but their methods were regrettably inhumane. Those little brats were insufferable. My heart ached for Anan. "I am Shinshirin." The child's insistence on her name mirrored her longing for her mother. "Hold on, Anan. Mommy is fighting." Mommy kept her promise. She did not return to that gilded cage. She was diligently searching for work. Yet, the challenges were far greater than anticipated. She tried to secure a proper job, even as an office clerk or shop assistant. However, each interview ended with either stammering excuses or outright rejections. Finally, during one such encounter, a forthright HR lady confided, "Sister, it's not that I don't want to help you, but someone has already put in a word for Ming's family. We can't afford to cross them." The moment my mother exited the company, her phone rang. It was Meng Xuqing. "Shinjinha, I trust you're finding the taste of failure unpleasant?" His voice dripped with mockery and arrogance. "I warned you, at my command, no one would dare to hire you. In this vast city, without my permission, you'll find it impossible to move. Be wise and return to acknowledge your mistakes, and I shall assist you in reclaiming that little burden." Chishire isn't so unyielding. It's better than begging in the streets. My mother gripped her phone, her knuckles whitening from the force. She gazed up at the dreary sky, then back towards the orphanage as if she could see my hopeful little face through the walls. Taking a deep breath, her voice rang clear and firm. "Meng Xuqing, listen closely. I, Shinjinha, regardless of whether I find work, will sell street food, fried cold noodles, or pancakes. I will never set foot in your Ming family again. And I will not starve. Stay away from us." With that, she hung up and blocked the number. A few days later, outside the orphanage's imposing iron gates, a small stall was set up. A dilapidated tricycle and a roaring coal stove supported a gleaming iron pot. My mother, clad in a faded apron with her hair neatly tied back, began selling authentic northeastern delicacies. The tantalizing aroma of steaming fried cold noodles, golden and crispy pancakes, and hearty sauerkraut buns wafted through the air. Most notably, the pot simmered with a rich broth, though it wasn't a complete goose yet. The robust scent of sauerkraut and bone soup boldly penetrated the iron bars, drifting into the yard. Fried cold noodles, pancakes, sauerkraut buns, my mother's calls, though slightly hesitant, were resonant and filled with vigor. Each day, I pressed my face against the nearest window, inhaling the mouth-watering fragrance. At noon or twilight, my mother would seize opportunities to approach the iron fence. She would quickly glance at the gatekeeper, then pull out warm food wrapped in oiled paper from her bosom, slipping it through the bars. "Anan, hurry, eat while it's hot. Today's buns are stuffed generously. I saved you the biggest fried cold noodle, with double eggs and sausages. The sauerkraut soup is skimmed of oil, it's warming." Her hands were red from the cold, Yet her face radiated a warm and anxious smile. I accepted the food, still warm from her touch, devouring it ravenously, the heat forcing me to gasp, but unwilling to stop. Through the frigid iron bars, we exchanged glances, our eyes shining. Mom, it's delicious. So fragrant. Slow down. Don't choke. Once I save enough money to rent a little storefront, I'll be able to cook goose for you every day. Yes. Mom, I'll wait. Tears welled up as I fed through the iron bars. I could almost smell the sauerkraut soup through the screen. Well done, Mommy. The bond between mother and daughter is unbreakable, transcending any adoption agreement. The Northeastern snack stall is thriving. Go, Mommy. Time passed day by day amidst my mother's tireless efforts and my eager anticipation at the window. Due to her authentic ingredients and sincere demeanor, my mother's humble stall gradually began to flourish. Just then, news arrived from the Meng family. Zhou Shiqi was pregnant. Although I had long suspected the ambiguous relationship between the two, I never anticipated such a blatant betrayal. Why should it be so? The kind-hearted protagonist of a tragic romance lost her child, while this scheming childhood friend bore a child instead. This narrative is utterly preposterous and fills me with indignation. I must switch back to the culinary channel. Upon hearing this news, Meng Xiuqing was naturally overjoyed, shaking off the previous gloom and throwing a grand banquet in celebration, eager to announce to the world that he was finally to become a father. He lavished Zhou Shiqi with jewelry and opulent residences, showering her with affection as if he sought to compensate for the loss of the child that had never seen the light of day. He even envisioned the despair of Xin Jinhe, that ungrateful woman, upon witnessing the arrival of his true heir. As the celebratory dinner concluded, Meng Xiuqing, slightly inebriated, wrapped his arm around the blushing Zhou Shiqi and prepared to head home. Just then, his phone rang, a call from a renowned male fertility specialist at the private hospital he frequently visited. Mr. Meng, I apologize for disturbing you at this late hour. The results of your comprehensive examination from last week have arrived, and the outlook is not optimistic. The doctor's voice carried a weight of professional gravity. Your sperm motility has dropped below the normal threshold, and the rate of abnormal morphology is exceedingly high. Given your medical history, it can be definitively diagnosed as severe oligospermia and asthenozoospermia. Under your current circumstances, the chances of natural conception are nearly non-existent. Meng Xiuqing's smile froze instantly, the effects of alcohol vanishing in an instant. What? Nearly non-existent? Impossible. Shiqi is pregnant. He nearly shouted, his voice quaking with disbelief. The doctor on the other end hesitated momentarily, adopting a more cautious tone. Mr. Meng, I understand your feelings. However, the medical test results are objective. Your motility was acceptable before marriage, but after reaching your 30s, particularly in the past year, the metrics have plummeted dramatically. We suspect this may be related to your prolonged stress, irregular lifestyle, and certain detrimental habits. As for your wife's pregnancy, we cannot assess her condition. The call ended, and Meng Xiuqing's phone clattered to the ground. He turned stiffly to glance at Zhou Shiqi, who had paled instantly and was now avoiding his gaze. Shiqi. Meng Xiuqing's voice was hoarse and dreadful. Whose child is in your womb? Zhou Shiqi's lips trembled, unable to utter a single word, retreating in terror. In that moment, Meng Xiuqing comprehended everything. A tidal wave of deception, humiliation, and rage engulfed him. He was suddenly reminded of that cold, rainy night when Xin Jinhe lay on the operating table, listening to the doctor deliver the devastating news of their daughter's death and the hysterectomy. Yet he had unhesitatingly abandoned them for Zhou Shiqi's feigned distress. His only child. The child he shared with Xin Jinhe. Lost forever due to his indifference and betrayal. The barrage of comments exploded across the screen. Karma. So satisfying. Meng is dumbfounded. Unwittingly becoming a father. He deserves it. His only child perished at his own hands. Now he knows the pain? It's too late. He ought to kneel in remorse for the daughter who never had the chance to be born. Meng Xiuqing shattered completely. He gathered evidence and expelled Zhou Shiqi from his life. The immense void and regret left him floundering like a headless fly. He finally recognized what he had once possessed and what he had so carelessly destroyed. In a frenzy, he sought out Xin Jinhe. Before the food stall, he appeared haggard, unkempt, devoid of his former domineering aura. He gazed at the busy Xin Jinhe, his eyes filled with anguish and a humble plea. Jinhe, I was wrong. I truly understand now. I was blinded. I am a scoundrel. I am less than human. His words tumbled out chaotically, and he even contemplated kneeling. Regarding the child. I wronged you. I am sorry for our daughter. Joe Shichi's child is not mine. It belongs to a male model from a nightclub. I have received my comeuppance. Jinha. Forgive me, shall we start anew? Whatever you desire, I shall provide. Company shares? Properties? Just name it. Jinha paused her tasks, regarding the frenzied man before her with a calm, indifferent gaze. There was no hatred, no love, only a stark indifference that bore witness to her clarity. She interrupted him, her voice crisp and cold. Meng Xuqing, what I desire is for you to vanish entirely from my world. Forever, do not reappear. Meng Xuqing stood there, struck as if by lightning, frozen in place. He watched Jinha turn and resume her work, her resolute form making him finally realize he had utterly lost her. Meanwhile, my mother's business thrived. Through her hard work and culinary skills, she saved enough money to rent a small storefront not far from the orphanage. A sign with red lettering on a yellow background was hung, "He an iron pot stew." The modest establishment featured a few tables and a massive iron pot perpetually bubbling away, simmering duck, ribs, chicken, and fish, the rich aroma wafting through the street, drawing in customers. My mother's smile grew ever brighter and her spirit revived. No longer the pale and melancholy Miss Shin of the Ming family. She transformed into the vibrant and lively businesswoman Shin. With a steady income and a place to call home, my mother mustered the courage to submit an adoption application to the orphanage once more. Inside the office, the responsible director scrutinized the materials, his brow furrowed in concern. Ms. Shin, we understand your situation and sympathize. However, you are a single woman without a stable partner. Although you have income now, the sustainability of this livelihood raises concerns. Adopting a child is a significant responsibility. My mother's heart raced, her hands nervously wringing together. Just then, the former director passed by and entered. He glanced at the materials and then looked out the office window. I was peering eagerly from the windowsill, my small face pressed against the glass. The director paused, walked to the window and gently asked, "Arya, do you wish to go with her?" He pointed to my mother inside. I immediately straightened, my face blooming with a smile brighter than the sun, and exclaimed, "Director, I want to. I want to so much. Also, Director, my name is not Arya." I puffed out my little chest proudly. My name is Shinshuren. My mother chose it for me. The director observed the pure light in my eyes and the unmasked affection reflected in them. He then glanced back at Jinha, whose expression was a mix of anxiety and hope. He sighed, smiled, and turned to the director, stating, "The child's desire and name are the best proof. Please proceed with the paperwork." At that moment, the comments erupted. Adoption successful. Let the celebrations begin. I am Shinshuren. Oh, what a perfect resolution. May the director enjoy a lifetime of peace. He and iron pot stew. Mother and daughter are safe. Wonderful. On the day the adoption agreement was officially enacted and stamped, my mother held my hand tightly as we exited the orphanage's grand doors. The warm sunlight enveloped us. Mom, let us go home. I bounced joyfully. Yes, home. My mother smiled, her eyes slightly red, nodding emphatically. What shall we stew today? Pickled cabbage with pork? Chicken and mushrooms? Or duck? Whatever you wish, Mom will prepare it. Then let's have duck. I've been craving it for ages. All right, at our home and in decides. From that moment on, the fragrant aroma of he and iron pot stew would forever carry the joyous banter of mother and daughter through the air. I, Shinshan, have finally embraced a life where each day is graced with the warmth of iron pot stews, and every meal is imbued with the affection of a mother. The barrage of comments resembles a sky filled with fireworks, continuously cascading across the screen. May happiness blossom. Let it endure forever. Long live the iron pot stew. Long live maternal love. The Northeast cub and her iron pot stew mother, forever bound. I have swallowed the key. The end, let the flowers rain down. May he be safe and sound year after year. This concludes the narrative. Thank you for listening, and until we meet again in